I have picked them off with the riding lawnmower. Yeah. I was mowing this guy's acre. I mowed it for 4 or 5 years and I was mowing one day. That looks like a tree. Down 3. I have no idea. I suppose it was an old tree there once upon a time.
We always have good luck under dead elms. There's a page on Facebook. I will know.
That's the one where I see it, but I haven't seen anything in Carroll County yet, that's what I thought.
I'll let you know later.
You guys are live, so whenever you guys are ready to start.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, we'll stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First thing we have is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, we're in order for a motion to approve. So moved. Second. Been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Next, we have approval of minutes. I have a question.
Yes,
Wasn't there actually 4 bids for the roof?
yeah, but 2 of them we didn't even consider or talk about because they weren't what they were looking for.
I wonder if we should.
We didn't even talk about dollars or who they were.
I know, but I wonder if we should make a note of that. There were 2 that were considered for, they didn't meet specifications.
They didn't meet the specs.
Okay.
Because one of them was local.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay? If you make that addition out or change, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the minutes with that change. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, Zach, secondary roads.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Got a couple of utility permits this morning. First is for West Central Iowa Rural Water. This is for just a road crossing in Nice 3435 on Kitty Hawk. Just getting service to a resident across the road from where the main is.
What sections are those?
Nice 34 and 35. Just north of Carroll here a little ways.
Right.
They'll be boring underneath the road, so I don't see any issues with any concerns with what they're wanting to do.
You want to do the motion on the second?
We can do them together. Okay. The second one is for Mid-American Energy. This is basically changing the route of an existing permit. I haven't filed a new permit just to keep it clean. But this is putting fiber from basically Carroll to west side. They were going to go down 200th Street, Old 30, and there's just too many utilities for them to get down that road in any spot that's going to work. So they're going another mile south to 210th, and there's that road is relatively open for utilities. So, so be dropping down Kitty Hawk outside of Carroll, and then going west on 210th over to the county line, and then back north again on Aspen.
That's only 2?
It's only 2.
Sure, Varying Fiber,
Fiber.
electric company.
Yeah.
Fiber.
Yep,
There's
for
one step
for communication for their facilities.
Oh,
Just for their own.
just for their own use.
Start
Yep.
with throwing switches and those kind of things.
Gotcha.
I asked that same question. Are you losing the game? Yeah,
So,
I have to, earlier, because that's what we're doing, around the association.
and if we can keep running the edge of the road, on the edge of that grass line, things work really well. When we have to start getting out into the middle of the road and go to locations, it starts causing issues. So,
If they start tearing up that too much, aren't they supposed to repair that?
they are. We're dealing with them in another location in the county right now where they're tearing down.
Down Myers?
Yes,
Definitely.
we're looking at that right now, so. And especially as dry as it is, tearing it, when you start getting into the middle of the road further, bringing up chunks, and it makes it more difficult, so. We gotta find a place for them to go, but that's not the place for them to go.
Okay, you've heard two utility permits, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay.
Thank you.
A couple of drains.
Couple drains. Surprised we haven't seen more, but I guess when it doesn't rain, that's what happens, so. Both of these we have fixed. We were trying to get ahead of the game for people to get in the field and get things planted. First one is drain 70, section 7 of East, just north of Breda. There was in a waterway, there was a hole, suck hole developed in the 18-inch line.
You know where that one was actually, because there was a drain that we repaired. Was, well, there was two of them. There was one right by the bridge, and there was another one just south of the bridge. So where's this one at?
This would be south of the bridge.
Okay.
And this line doesn't do justice to where it shows, because
Right.
it's really closer to that
The
waterway.
Yeah.
Right. The area that had where this suck hole had been fixed years before. And they put in a piece of CMP, and it only had about 6 inches of cover on it. And that was part of the problem.
Yeah, so you're talking about this right here?
Yep,
Well, that looks like that's been hit.
I think it was.
So that's gotta be extremely shallow because there's grass right there.
It's 4 to 6 inches. That
Oh,
was it.
jeez.
So
Did you send them all?
yeah, that picture should have came out with the,
It's right below
I didn't get it.
did you get a picture of the aerial?
I agree with you, it looks like it was hit.
Yeah, it looks like it's hit.
so this is a 30-inch concrete line, and it was replaced with 36-inch CMP to try to match outside. Well, that cut down on the cover. So when we replaced this section where it was damaged, we put a 30-inch CMP back in, because they don't make 30-inch dual wall plastic. So we'll get a little more cover out of it. It's very, very comparable to size. Basically, the size is the same on the inside. You have corrugations inside rather than a smooth wall concrete. That's the difference. So, but we'll get a little more cover out of it this way and replace that whole section in there with that. So hopefully we won't have an issue. But the whole line's just shallow, and this spot was even more shallow.
Well, that's been part of that problem of draining on drain 70. That ditch, the ditch holds water for such a long time. So is this on the edge of the waterway or is it in the waterway?
This one right here is in the waterway where this was.
So I mean, they can avoid from this happening. I mean, right?
Absolutely. So and that's why I don't know if this was done years ago and it was patched and it finally showed up. I think it was covered up with some things, like it was like patched with some broken pieces of concrete tile or something.
Okay.
Just wasn't patched very well. So I don't know if it's something we had done years ago or farmer had done or whatever the reason was. But the sinkhole now finally developed, and that's what we found. So
Well, not much of a sinkhole, it's a surface hole.
it is a surface hole. You're right.
Just we'll put an intake there. Or a flag.
Exactly. Pretty much. So But they did get that fixed last week, and wasn't too big of a deal, so. Next one is drain 54. This is in Richland 25. This would be right off the county line, south of Ralston. We've been on this one. We fixed this line before as well. Just had a cave in. They had to replace a short section of 24-inch. Do not have a picture for this one, but it's one that we've been to many times before, the way it sounds, from what I understand. So, but they did get out and fix it, I believe, on Friday.
How much did they fix?
It was just a short section. I don't know exactly whether it was like 5 or 6 feet the most. It wasn't very much. So, but yeah, that's what I have for drains.
I'll make a motion to approve the repairs on the drains.
I'll second.
Then moved and second to approve the repairs on the 2 drains. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. We got a one over by Rolf and stuff that I talked to you about. Did anything come out of that? It wasn't, you said it was.
The open ditch.
Yeah.
There was in Greene County, there was a beaver dam. Greene County took care of it.
All right.
Yes.
All right, good enough.
One other item of note, I guess, the city of Glidden did get back to me, and they are not looking to pave that section of West 2nd Street, 205th Street, going to the west side of Glidden. Cost was just a little bit higher than what they wanted to entertain, I think. So I think they're going to plan on putting some dust control down out by the ball fields and leaving it at that. So, but we had talked about that last week, I think. So I wanted to touch base again, and that's what they decided at their council meeting last Monday night, I believe.
All right, question, thank you. Zach? All right, good enough, Zach. Thank you.
You did a really nice job on Phoenix.
Okay, IT, Dalton.
How's it going, everyone?
Good, how are you?
So first off, I'll be bringing you my quarterly report for January through March. Had a couple new computers come in. We got a new laptop in the jail. The IT department both built new computers. We built our own to save a little bit of money. Saved us ourselves a couple $1,000 just building our own computers. So took a lot of time, but got her done. So went to ICIT spring training. That was fun. Recently, we did some penetration testing on our network. For those of you not familiar with penetration testing, it's basically where we hire hackers to try to get in our network. Luckily, no one was able to get in. So they worked on it for about a month straight, from the beginning of March till about the 1st of April. They said they didn't find anything on the outside. I actually let them in, and they couldn't really get anywhere. There was only like one thing on my computer that I knew I had enabled for some work that I have to do, but we actually passed pretty good. So I am going to discuss some phone issues. We've had some issues with our phones, so we're going to be looking to replace that system, which I'll bring up later. We also launched Cisco Umbrella this quarter. So what Cisco Umbrella is, it is basically if there's a virus on anybody's computer and it tries to call out, the Cisco Umbrella can actually stop that computer from calling out. So if somebody were to get ransomware or something like that, even if we're infected, we're still protected. So it was a good layer of security to put in place on our network. So that's something we did. We're trying to get some quotes on some new servers and firewalls. Both of those are getting out of date. So that's something we've been doing. We brought the HIPAA quotes to everyone. We ended up going with Carroll, as we know. Something else important, I virtualized the computer for the county attorney's assistant. So when she's actually coming to the network, she doesn't have a physical computer anymore. She has one on our server that we virtualize, which that's a lot more secure. So, any questions about any of this?
How's Carroll working?
Cross doesn't start until July 1.
No more questions or comments?
Yeah, so as of July 1, we'll start doing training and stuff, and we'll get a better feel for them and see how we're doing. We only have a year with them, so if we're not happy, we can always look other places. So, any questions for the report?
Scott, did you meet with him about Leslie after Leslie?
I gave it to Ben.
Okay.
Did you do those, all the committee updates?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, so Ben has it, he'll take care of it. So, yeah, we
That was how Cass County got a hold of you, but last
Right.
Monday after the meeting, I looked him up to see who was on what boards and they were way out there. But I gave Ben a copy that I got from Courtney at the end of the year after you printed out the reassignments or the new.
Yeah, we probably, I didn't realize you were even on the website, otherwise I could have.
And yeah, a lot of departments have that, department heads have access to that too, so they can go in and change their pages, so. That is about all I have on the quarterly report. Move on to the phone discussion.
What's wrong with our phone system?
So we purchased our phone system 5 years ago. About a month after purchasing our phone system, Toshiba went out of business. So our phones haven't been updated. There's no software updates for them or anything. So the two of our systems, for instance, the one out the engineer and the one at community services, I have no access to due to them being so outdated. I was able to get into the community services one by spinning up an old laptop, and we had to use what's called a crossover cable to get into it, just to talk to it. So we're kind of at the point where we're looking at a new phone system, something that's a little bit more manageable. So we went out and got some quotes for phone systems. We did go get one from American Business Phones, and we got one from Verizon and Western Iowa Networks here in town. Those were the three we had talked to. The Verizon one, I don't know if you guys saw that, was a little pricey, but if you look at the big amount on the second one, the reason it's such a high amount because that covers 5 years, where Verizon was monthly. If that makes sense. So that's where the differences in amounts are.
Talking basically same equipment.
Yeah. The problem that I have with Verizon is the fact that they go over all the calls go over a cell signal and internet, where they don't rely on like the old copper lines. So hypothetically, if a natural disaster or something like that were to happen, we're not going to be able to get much traffic out of the courthouse. So that is a concern of mine with Verizon. Whereas we currently have basically the other system where it's the old copper style system to digital, where we have the on-site server, and that's the American Business Phones quote. And that's honestly the one I'm kind of leaning towards at this point, just because they have our system here now. And another thing is we have to integrate the 911 operations center in, and there's specialized equipment that's required to do that. And I don't want to get a company who I'm going to have to troubleshoot with for 2 months just to get my comm center up and working with our phone system. So.
How did Western Iowa
Network?
Yeah, did you have a?
So they came in, the problem I have with them was they don't do pass through. And what that means is, so currently a lot of the computers for like up in the treasurer's office, they have one line going to them, one internet line. So that one internet line connects to your phone and then jumps to your computer. That way you have access on your phone and access on your computer. Well, when Western Iowa Networks came in and quoted us, they were wanting to run individual lines to phones and have individual lines to computers. They did not allow pass-through on their equipment. So that would require either us hiring an electrician to pull lines through this whole courthouse and get extra lines to every single desk, which is just not feasible, or just looking at another company that allows pass-through. Because honestly, we're not running enough data to pass-through is really gonna hurt anything or slow us down any. So, that was my concern with Western Networks. I just,
The system that they were looking at, was it a multi-line type phone or is it a single line type phone?
so I guess, let me explain a little bit better. So it actually runs over the network. So your actual like old style phone lines actually just go into the server itself.
Right.
And then from there, all your phones talk back on the server over the internet or the local network, just like your computer would. So you're actually making the phone calls through the server itself, just talking back to it.
Okay.
So, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, there, that would have been an on-site processor
Yeah.
type thing.
Which, the American Business Fund one is also, and that's
That's an on-site also.
And honestly, we prefer on-site because here's the thing, if you don't have a server on-site and your internet goes down, I can't make a phone call to Courtney from the basement because I don't have any service. Whereas if the server's on site and the internet's down and let's say some phone lines got cut, we're still able to call each other internally because we have that internal system.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's the advantage of it.
yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, any questions, other
So
questions?
you're saying with the Western Iowa Network, you'd be going back on their system and come back to call?
No, they would have a server too, but like I said, the concern with them was we'd have to run extra lines. So you'd have to have the individual data cables going to each device, where that would require us to have to hire, electrician and have them come and pull a bunch of lines, or have Western Iowa Networks pull a bunch of lines. Which I pull a lot of cable in this courthouse and it's not easy. We're talking about it the whole time. So,
Well, that, and don't they charge by the line?
yeah, and they charge by the
So you
cell.
start adding an extra line at everybody's workstations, you're gonna have more of an additional monthly expense as well.
Exactly. And our network is, we have really good throughput. So like I said, I'm not worried about the bandwidth running on one line. The way we have our network set up now, it's not gonna be an issue.
Did you tell Western Iowa Networks that you weren't interested in the pass-through or the?
I did.
That you were interested in the pass-through and they still wouldn't, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they said that they generally just don't enable their equipment to do so. And the reason being is when they have issues, they don't like to troubleshoot it. Which I get, because it is kind of difficult to trouble, because it could be the phone or it could be the computer if you don't have a network.
It
And-
adds another layer of cookies.
Exactly. So they don't want to get phone calls generated for IT support because they're not IT support, they're phone support. So I think that was generally their concern. Which I get.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Do you want anything done on this today or?
I don't think so. I just wanted to kind of get a feel on what everybody's thoughts were. I still need to get together and figure out costs and everything too.
Well, we just got these this morning. I'd like to look at it.
I want you to. I mean, it's a big deal. And if you guys have questions, I can get back on the agenda and we can always talk about it too.
So the Verizon one has, obviously, we'll be getting a monthly bill from them.
Yeah.
And it looks like that monthly bill is gonna be like $200.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying, like, you think about, what was the one, 52, I think, was the total for the other one, that's for 5 years.
Okay, so
If you think about the math on that.
if you went with, I mean, obviously, if you went with the American Business phones, we're still gonna get a bill from Western Iowa Networks every month for our
Yes.
lines. But if you went with the Verizon one, you wouldn't be,
That's true,
correct?
yeah, so you
So
would be
there'd
saving that. So there is a little, yeah, I mean, you do have that.
So by
difference
going
there.
with the American Business one, you're still doing business with Western Iowa Networks, like
Absolutely.
we are now. But the
Absolutely.
Verizon one would cut them out totally.
Yep.
Well, maybe not totally, but
Yeah.
a lot of their.
Well, and like I said, the concern is moving everything over, because like, we have so many random things on these old copper lines that every single device that requires the old style phone line, you have to get a converter for it, digital converter. So that's going to be an added cost as we go, and I just don't want a bunch of surprises because of that. So,
Verizon, at 5 years would be $136,200 compared to the $53,000.
and that's,
So the Toshiba phones, even if they're only 5 years old, are obsolete.
The Toshiba phones were obsolete about a month after they were put in.
How did we ever do that?
It was nobody's fault, and there was no way for anybody to predict this, but Toshiba went out of business right after they went in. And everybody was just like, what do you do?
After he said it, I kind of remember.
Yeah, I
that.
remember that, and then we found a vendor in
Well, it's just
Nebraska that would
American.
do aftermarket.
And that's American Business Phones.
Yeah.
You still deal with that.
So we were through Scott Telephone, is who it was, and Scott Telephone actually sold us off to American Business Phones.
Right.
And American Business Phones have been great. I mean, for a system that's not supported, they've gave me good support on it for what they can do. It's just, it's getting to the point where I'm spending more time troubleshooting it than I'm really
Remember
necessary.
the noise issue at the treasurer's office?
Yeah, and that's this
That was-
weird issue.
That was hard to find, and
Well, I've noticed it's hard to hear on the phones.
Yeah,
Like when somebody calls in, it is hard to hear. You can turn the phone up as much as you can and you still have trouble.
I do have some amps if you ever want one,
Well, I know,
but
but
and then
to
you have
me,
to change
it's like,
batteries.
they were
and-
like that right away.
Yeah.
You know, you think a brand new phone would just work.
And that was their solution when we got them at first too. They put in all those little converters that go off the phone line and you crank the volume up, but then the sound quality seems to go down a little bit when you do that, so it's like.
So what do you say about Scott Telephone? They're with American Business Phones now?
So Scott Telephone, at the time, they actually sold our contract off to American Business Phones
Oh, okay.
about 5 years ago when that happened.
completely
So
out of the thing.
as soon as they went out of business, they sold all their contracts off, so.
Scott did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually called them one time. They just sent me right back over to the American Business Phones, so I don't think they want anything to do with it.
Okay,
All right, any further discussion?
any other questions for Dalton? If not, okay, we'll get it under, we'll do some more thinking here and
All right, thanks, guys.
get back to you. All right,
Thank you.
Thanks, Dalton.
public hearing until
You got about
9:30.
4 minutes. I hope you want to do that. Item 5 or,
Yeah, we could do that. Item number 5, set the public hearing for Rise Broadband Lease Agreement.
That's recommended date and time.
somewhere. I'm thinking May 17th at 9:30. And I don't know if everybody, I mean, I'm not real super familiar with this. Jason Hoffman really took the lead on this. Because we contacted them, but currently they pay $100 a month for rent. We didn't have a current lease on file, and they wanted to get one in place, which I can understand. So it sounds like they'll do $200. They'll pay $200 a month, plus offer us complimentary internet, which our IT department was happy because they're kind of the backup. If we have issues with the Win internet. John Warden's reviewed the lease, made some recommendations. They came back with what he wanted. He gave his blessing on the revisions. So what we need to do is, since this is a 5-year lease, he said we are required to have a public hearing on it because the lease is over 3 years in length.
And I don't remember having a public hearing the last time when we did this. But that's.
Well, the
John's
last
wishes.
one is like, can't even remember, it was before I was audited, the last time we did this, so. And maybe that wasn't even a 3 year.
To be honest with you,
Just a year.
I'm happy with this. They're going up $100 a month. We do not have that many clients that are serving. So I think maybe we need to be happy with what we're getting. You know, it could be nothing. The thing is, if we turn them off, then there's gonna be people out there that lost internet.
Yeah.
Maybe a few.
Well, you know, they doubled their rent.
Yeah.
So, which is good, but, geez, how much are we paying for, occupation on
I know,
manning and,
it should be.
you know, I mean, this is
12 to
peanuts
14
compared to that, but I'm still okay with what you're saying,
Well,
you
we
know,
got-
I mean,
Well, we gotta remember, we're also getting a backup
Yeah, we're getting it back up.
Well, yeah, it isn't a lot of money, but I think the people that are using this company for their internet don't have a lot of options when it comes to getting internet.
Right.
So, yeah, if we didn't do that, we'd have some people out there that would kind of be struggling to find.
I get all that, but, you know, I mean, the cost disparity is
And I,
pretty glaring, you know.
I would agree with you.
It's not even 10%.
And this now we have a really small radius of where it can serve.
It's a point to point. And if you can't have a good line of sight, it doesn't.
Some of them can't be too good.
Yeah. So the ones that are on this, they have exhausted every other possibility.
Okay, is there a motion then to set the public hearing for May 17th at 9:30?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, great. Motion carried. Let's go ahead and take care of the,
It's 9:30?
oh, it's 9:30. It is, it just turned. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's go to the public hearing for fiscal year budget, 21 budget amendment.
Okay, there weren't any changes from the last time we talked about this. I'll briefly go through what we're doing here again. Stop me if you have any questions. So under the expenditures, treasurer, we have a salary adjustment in. She has two different functions, one for motor vehicle, one for driver's license, and we just had to take money from one place and put it in another to cover the cost of payroll. It is a zero net effect on the budget, but we needed to get it in the right area. The attorney's health insurance, I'm not sure if somebody made a change in one of their plans or if it was just under budgeted, but we need about we need 6747 in there to get him to the end of the year. Medical examiner, $15,000. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We just had a lot of autopsies. And I know we're holding a couple because we're kind of out of money at this point. Jail meals, $20,000. You can see that there's an offset of revenue on the same note. Hopefully that'd be a zero budgetary item. District court subscriptions, that is just short, $1,545. Juvenile detention, $20,000. A lot of troubled youth, more so than normal apparently. And they're costing us quite a bit of money on a monthly basis. We have some long-term clients. So we're hoping we don't use all that, but.
Okay, that was my question. That's not a actual number that is due. That's
Correct. That is just what we think we might have to spend by the end of the year. At this point,
When she's talking long-term use, those are people that are at other locations, they're not the Cherokee.
and when they're not at Cherokee, it's very expensive. I mean, even when they're in Cherokee, it's expensive, but if they're in another location, it's even more expensive. So unfortunately, the one that I'm thinking of will be there into next budget year too. So that's that. The next one is the City of Carroll Housing Grant. We did not budget for that. That is some money the board committed to local match, if you want to say it that way, to the City of Carroll. Life insurance, this is my fault. The budget should have been $10,000, and when I put it in last year, I put in 1,000. I dropped to 0. So my fault, total clerical error, but we need to cover that. I was hoping we could if some of our other bills came in a little less, but they came in as normal, so that's where we're at with that. Let's see here. I'll move down to supplemental. The sheriff's FICA and IFRS, this is a 0 net effect. It's kind of a similar situation as the treasurer. The money just needs to get moved into a different area, a little over budget, or I should say, a little under budget in the sheriff's department. And we need to take some of that from the jail to offset that. So we're just moving it from one department to another. And then the E6 radio project, we're a little over budget right now on that. Dean, did I send you the detail on that? Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Thank you.
you know, we're paying lease on that and all that stuff. So there's some expenses that are coming out every month. And I don't know. I think when I budgeted for that, the last go around, I was just budgeting for the project itself, not so much the lease payments. So we need to, and we may not spend all that, but that project should be finished up this budget year, I think, as far as extra costs. So the overall total on the budget would be, look at the other sheet. That one. It is 90,542. If we collect all the revenue from the jail meals and you can spend every dime. So not horrible, but most of it's not anything we can control. Do they have any questions?
And this should be the last one. That,
This will be the last one because we can't do budget amendments in June and we're in May, and by the time we publish, I mean, unless somebody came to me today with, or even maybe we're kind of cut close for the 14 or for the publication date. So
has there been any written comments on this amendment?
I haven't heard anything from anybody. So
Is there any oral comments or any on the internet?
Ben, is there any comments on this?
No, I don't see any.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, with that, I'll close the public hearing. And next is to approve the budget amendment, and that would be by the resolution of the appropriations. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion on the appropriation resolution.
Do you have a number on that?
you don't number those.
Oh, no number. Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution.
Let's do a roll call.
Oh, it's a roll call. Yep,
Yep.
excuse me.
That's all right. Miners,
Yes.
Couples,
Yes.
Houseman.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Scheckter.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I'll pass this around here. This needs everybody's signature. Usually get this to Gene. It needs his signature.
For the last one, that's not really a
No,
bad amount of dollars.
so what that means, I
It can get
mean,
pretty nasty
obviously,
once in a while.
we've had a couple other ones, but I guess
And that
when it's low like that, that means we did a good job, I think.
one of them's an estimate too. You always have those. And you can't cover all those bases on that left hand side. You just can't do it.
But from the time the original budget was made up to now, it's 18 months.
Well, and I think it'd be neat, I shouldn't say neat, I think it'd be nice one year to have a budget and not have to amend it. I mean, just to get it that close to be passed on. That would be something that I think would be pretty exceptional, to set
Well,
goals.
Tell me how many people in that. Then I
It's
can tell you what
almost
number to put
impossible
for the
because you
medical.
just
You know,
never
those
know.
are the things that factories just.
Yeah, there's always stuff and stuff.
I think you know, you did a pretty good job of being this close.
Yeah. I mean, we've added a budget amendments this year.
Yeah,
you know,
I do.
So.
Okay, next we'll go to approval of fireworks permit at 28531 Highway 30 Glidden.
This is one we usually do every year.
And what date is this on?
It is on the 3rd or 4th day of July.
Okay. Any questions on that fireworks permit?
So
It's been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried.
There's a place here for you to sign.
Okay, next we have is the approval resolution 2021-016 SRT rehabilitation project. This is in regard to the soft trail, our commitment to support that project, to allow for the match for the grant. Any questions? And as you're aware of, I think we're going to probably have another request for another one, and that will pick up at next Monday's meeting. We'll put that on the agenda. What we do, we do. Is there any questions on this resolution?
Minus that one email, does anybody have any comments from public?
Positive comments. Supporting.
And
As a city,
Not that I'm aware of formally.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. It seems like they always kind of last minute. Make sure that it's on their
I'll have
agenda after we've approved ours.
I'll have another discussion with you Dean, after that.
I guess it makes it easier for them if we make the decision.
Well, and it is our trouble. And of course, I hope they do support it because
Yeah,
Jordan-
I don't think, I would guess that they probably would. But I would make a motion to approve the resolution 2021-016 Sauk Rail Trail Rehabilitation Project.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Myers,
Yes.
Puzzles,
Yes.
Houseman,
yes.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Shep.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Just need Gene's signature on that.
Courtney, I'll take this one, try to make one ready for next.
Well, I mean, we gotta.
Have that discussion first.
Yeah.
And this is
Have it prepared.
pretty cut and dry. Too specific, so.
Okay. Next, we have a discussion of set fiscal 22 health insurance rates.
Okay, so I sent you guys hopefully what you needed to make this decision, but, so our final rates came back from Wellmark, and there was no change from the initial rates that he proposed to us at a meeting maybe in January, if I remember right. And I thought at that time, and I couldn't find my notes, but it was like less than a 1% increase or a little over 1% increase from the year before, which is pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
So I kind of did a
I was
little,
thinking like 2, or 1.8, maybe it was close to 2.
I don't know, it wasn't a lot.
Well, even 1 point, even 2% is impressive.
Yes.
So I did some checking, and in fiscal 21, the board chose to increase the low deductible plan by 2.5%. We did not touch the higher deductible or the HSA. We left those rates where they were. A majority of departments budgeted around 3% for their increase in their budgets. So what I need from the board is, what do you want to increase the rates? I'd like to look at each of the 3 plans, and then you'll notice at the very bottom, we have our 509A people, which is our retirees. What do we want to do with them? Last year, we just did the 2.5%. on those. So I shouldn't say we only touched the low deductible, we touched the low deductible and the 509A plans, and then we left the 2 other ones. And as you can see on the last reserves spreadsheet, the health insurance is doing good. It's over $1 million. So we're gonna keep it.
Well, one of our goals then was to try to get this spread 750 and 1500 a little more applicable, and spread it out a little bit more and not make it so tight. To me, I would like probably the 2% that we have raised this year. And I think this is the year I'd like to go to more percent. So what my original thoughts here is that 750 plan is to change it 4% and leave the other 2 alone again. The 509A plan, the retirees. I guess I wasn't quite totally aware of that one last year. We did change my 2, and I guess I wouldn't mind leaving theirs at 2 to cover what the cost was. But I wouldn't be opposed to raising it to 4% too. Also,
The only issue I have with that is we budgeted 3. So if we go 4,
everybody's budget.
we'll be doing a budget amendment. Not that that's a huge problem, but
Yeah.
we're not talking about $100, but it would be something we have to look at. And, you know, it kind of depends on the department. Do they have more people that have a high deductible plan or may offset?
What ratios they have? Well, I just feel like it's, and like I said, that percentage is kind of
Right now, between a single on either 2 plans, you're talking roughly close to $100.
Yeah.
So that's some difference really. And I would be more in favor of 2.5 to 3%. Change the loaded up and I think we need to pass that grade on to also.
the 509.
Because we're covering out of.
Because the law says we have to.
Yeah. And,
Up to 65.
yeah.
Well, I have no problem, you know, we budgeted 3%. I have no problem doing 3%. I'd like to see a higher. But,
How wide again do you want to make one?
Yeah, where do you want to get that?
I mean, I think on a
Wasn't
single
it
person,
$100?
$100 is what it is.
What's that?
I think on a single policy, $100, that's,
But if you look at what the employee pays.
Yeah.
A single is
Yeah.
101 on the low and it's 86.
So it's
On the
not
high.
very much.
And the
It's not-
family
No,
is
I-
like
I
75.
understand that.
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that
$20
what we're changing on ours is also cost us too.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's both the total.
Yeah.
Whether it's the employer or us.
You know, or you can look at the percentages too.
Yeah.
Talk about that where we go maybe 80-20 instead of 85.
Yeah. But I think to do that,
Well, the unions are,
that's right.
it doesn't matter anymore. That was the case before. We couldn't do that.
So that's something we probably need to look, either we can go that way this year, we still.
You could, because if you're at 80%, obviously we over budgeted a little,
Right.
which would just go back to reserves, but. And then the 20% would just go back to budget, so.
If we change it to 20%.
Well,
The problem I see with that is it really counts up raises. When you do that. You give, a 2.5% raise to some. And you raise the insurance 5%. Not, and I'm just speaking from what I'm I'm gonna get told from people or comments. Who here.
So our goal was to try to get more people from Plan A to B. Did we have anybody switch?
No, I'm gonna say. And if there
Yeah,
was.
I don't know that, you know, I'm not against the 3%, I guess, 2.5 to 3, but, you know, I don't know if you can get into the switch. with That,
I don't know, where's the uncle point where they say?
you know, and the thing about it is that, you know, I mean, they're doing an excellent job, you know, of taking care of themselves and keeping themselves out of the hospital and keeping themselves healthy. And so, you know, when you have a 2% increase in these times,
That's
that's pretty impressive.
pretty minimal.
So I don't want to penalize them for that. Yeah. I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking is that, you know, keep doing the good job you're doing. I guess that's kind of how I look at it.
Any other thoughts?
Did we get anywhere with HSAs?
No, I was on one on.
I think the only way you're gonna get participation in that is if the county gives people
Some incentive.
some incentive to do it, whether it's, you know, $500 in there or. That's what I've heard from others. They're kind of interested, but there was really no incentive for them to do it.
Every year that I was on, one, there was an incentive type of some sort, either monthly or one time a year.
Because, you know, on that plan, you go to the doctor, you're responsible for the whole bill. It's not a $20 or $30 copay. And for some, that's hard to get started. So if you give them an incentive, whether it's $500 or $1,000, they have that money to pay that. And then once they get going in there.
The whole key is
Yeah.
24 months. You can't get by 24 months. The snowball gets going pretty good size.
Well, and you know, I mean, I think the HSAs are great. I think, you know, with this group of people, they would fit in very, very well. I mean, they stay healthy, you know?
Yep.
And so it would be something that, but you're right. I think they have to have an incentive and it has to come from this board to make that happen.
And you know, some of the stuff I got from Walmart was, yeah, you give them $500 or $1,000, or you make these rates that they're paying super low. You know, so then if they're paying, say they're paying $50 a month, I'm just sorting that out for a family, they're saving $250. You encourage them to use that savings, put in their HSA. They said, then you haven't given an employee $1,000 and they quit. You know, you're gonna give them an incentive every month within the form of their cost savings on their insurance. Now, is everybody gonna take that $200 and put it in their HSA, or are they gonna use it? Or you need to,
It depends.
but, I mean,
Kind of depends where you're at in life. You got
exactly.
3 little kids at home. that need
You know, if
food.
you go into it in the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna switch and that $200, I'm gonna just automatically put that in my HSA, then that'd be great.
Yeah.
You could potentially be over $2,000 in one month, and if you have a good year where not a lot of people are sick, that's not a bad idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say if we're gonna want to go that way, then we should have a meeting sometime, you know, and discuss it prior to May of next year. And yeah.
Well, and I think in this area, I think there's that mentality, that as long as group insurance is on, they're what it costs, they don't want to have any bills. Those what they're used to get your money. I think that's kind of hard to get the
Well,
right conversion. out of the money.
You've got to get the education of the HSAs out. And direct. That's hard to do. And Dean tested with a very valid point. We're either up against the wall at budget time or we're up against the wall. Maybe in September, we have a meeting with our insurance agencies and say, look, we're going to bring people in. Let's get a plan. Let's get it explained well. Let's get it out there. And we have to establish a direction that we can work with the insurance company and work with ourselves and constituents here. And get everybody headed the right path. And it's gonna take some meetings and some time to get that done. It's not gonna be real easy,
But you know, you look at these rates, a single on that high deductible is 579 for single. And HSA is 518. So there's really no big difference there either. How much difference you have to make?
well, yeah, that's true,
And
but
whenever we, if we do like what she said, and I think that's what we do, is have that premium lowered. Then the county can be more on the look.
Well, you can put whatever rate you want
Yeah, I know.
there.
But what I'm getting at, and I think you don't want to give them that money up front to whether it's HSA, because if they do quit 2 months down the road, then you've got to take it.
That's definitely a risk you take, for
Yeah.
sure.
the biggest concept that's missed out of it though is that's your money when you're in. That's your money forever. You don't, and when you hit that end of the year and you say, I've got $500 left, I have to go buy a pair of glasses. I have to go do this. No, and when you're in that position, you don't have to, because you can use it again whenever you want.
Then you can take, if you switch, you can always pay premiums with that, with those dollars.
When you retire,
When you retire,
your Part Bs and those
Yeah.
things can be used.
all covered.
It's all covered, you already have laid money away for that, so then there's no money out of your pocket at that time. There's a concept flip there also that,
No, I think I like HSA. I mean, I wish if I would had an opportunity when I was a younger person to get into the
I
HSA.
only had 4 or 5 years of it, I wish that I had 20 of it.
All right, back to the discussion. What do we want to do here? Is there any other thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, I just don't want to penalize our employees for doing a good job. I mean, if we keep it the same, that's fine too. I'm okay with that.
I guess I'd lean towards the 2.5 years.
I don't want to go above the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, we were told that.
And maybe we just let it go 2.5%. We're not penalizing them either. We are making a big step. With a bigger gap there.
We don't have any real main issues right now, do we?
Nothing new. Everything that I can think of has been ongoing for the last year.
Well, I'll make a motion to go 2.5% on the motor duct and the 509 days. Get this conversation started. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved in second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary? Aye. Motion carried.
Courtney, before we move on. Courtney, what time of year is a good time for you? September, or you get close to elections?
Well, we'll have an election this fall in November.
Okay.
The thing is, you know, if people are gonna switch to an HSA, they need to know that before they sign up to do like flex. You know, because a lot of people that are on the low deductible, they flex money for medical. If you're on an HSA, you probably aren't. I don't know if there's rules as to what you can. So, I would say September, because we do the flex and that kind of stuff in November.
I think it's a lot of education, explaining
Well,
what an HSA is.
Not just for the employees, but for us too.
Well, and
Maybe we're missing something else.
we had a meeting where they came in and they talked about that. They talked about the dental division, which we have known already.
Yeah, you had a music, was it very many people showed up? That's the big though.
There was a few that showed up, as I remember, but
We
not
didn't
many
get a lot
people
of it.
showed.
I don't want to call them the outsiders, but the people that don't work in this building, it's hard to be. So maybe next year or next time we do it, we need to have a meeting, staff meeting.
I mean, in the past, I think we've had a hard time getting community. This,
I mean, if you think about it, that department has the most employees, so she'll can make sure that they offer.
okay. Next is to discuss county redistricting commission. Just to bring you all up to date, we have to appoint redistricting commissioners by May 15th. We have to decide, and this is something that we probably need to do today, decide whether we want a 3, 5, or 7 person board. If we decide a 3-person board, it is just partisan. Dean and I get to pick one. You guys get to pick 2. So I think today we need to decide how big we want this commission. In the past, it's been a 3-person board. And what we need to do this by May 15th. I think my idea is today we decide the number of board commissioners. And the next week we come back with who you want. Is that agreeable with everybody? I think that's agreeable.
And I'm willing to stay at 3. I mean, volunteerism is probably enough to find out. I may agree with 3. 3 people will be enough probably to find that. And not just.
This is something I've learned lately, but it's getting on. We gotta get something done.
I knew we were getting down.
And we don't really do a lot until next fall, but you
Yeah.
have to,
And this may get pushed up because we're pushing that thing back.
Yeah, now,
so these
does this work
people,
off census numbers?
Yes.
It works out,
Yeah.
So what is the city voting to? More.
correct,
But it sets up our districts that we work on.
But it sets up the city district also.
I'm the supervisor.
And this is-
Yeah.
so what I found is like, and I wasn't super involved last time. 11. Really, the only thing that changed in our county due to redistricting after the census was in the city of Carroll. And there was a couple little chunks in some communities that got etched out and moved into different wards. So your numbers were more equal.
Yeah, I think my district's from one little section.
So that's what the redistricting commissioners are gonna be kind of. I mean, and it'll be a group effort, well, obviously a GIS involved.
Okay, so the GIS has those numbers for is.
Yeah, it used to be Park, it would be Sarah, but we'll work with her and the board and these commissioners, probably myself.
I think the process of it, I think they come back with a plan and then we can accept it or not. And then you can do the top line of it. After second time, there's a point where it's state. We don't want that.
Who was it last time?
Well,
Do you guys remember?
Yeah, when I looked it up.
we would have.
I guess I can, and I.
It was Rick Hunziker.
Rick Hunziker.
Hunziker, yeah.
And Jay Reeves.
Yes. And the Republican was.
I mean, those are the type of
I don't-
people you want a Rick Hunziker type
You
guy,
just-
you know, because he's got very good input on just how that whole process.
And I don't,
We need Jay, or
Rick.
and I don't think it's a huge time commitment for those people either.
Well, we were kind of thinking last night that, you know, so where's the growth been in the county? Probably in the southern part of Carroll.
You got
Yeah,
down there and then
north-
north of Fairway.
Northeast.
Have those two been equal?
Yeah,
I'm pretty close, I'm guessing, maybe
Well,
not.
Ward 4 is one of our smaller wards as far as city numbers go. So if there's growth in there, it might be okay. No, it's G's. You have some in Ward 4 in yours,
I don't think so.
or is that stuff?
no, mine is all outside of City Hill.
I'm the only one I think is that
You
has
come in the north side. and
North
I
side,
think
The golf course area.
Just slightly on the south side.
just
I know.
very,
It's,
yeah, I don't
I don't
think
think
so.
we
I
don't come in.
I don't think it's
you
very
even come in
much.
and do-
So you have all of Carroll and you and Scott?
No.
No, I come
Chris
in,
and I-
I come in like on 18th Street and then,
The golf course.
yeah, then they go out west, I think. Yeah.
Oh. I'm drawing a blank.
I mean, Highway 30 is kind of the divider of the city of Carroll, except I have part of the north side. You're 100% north side of Highway 30.
Yes. And everything, what they call the little fish bowl.
Yeah.
Like everything this way.
And I have part of, I have everything south of 30
Where
and
the
the
Hill
little
Hill was the last, across the street was my district.
It
Exactly.
throws me because they come in. There's
Mhm.
now houses here and there's houses here.
Yeah, so there's been a little growth, but
Yeah,
I mean, I think the little
I could-
communities have.
I could
grown.
probably do some. Simply because of the fact that I probably haven't added a lot, and there's probably been more in northern, the north, who's ever up in that northeast corner.
Look at that, 10 years ago.
I'm a-
You're up in the northeast
it
corner?
goes really weird. It goes all the way up to Ralston.
No, northeast corner here.
Oh,
That's me.
no.
That's all we.
Yeah, see, I think you're gonna increase, I would think. And
I don't know, Brita and. The
Brita has-
rural, the
Brita
rural
has-
area has been just about the same.
yeah, Brita has added houses, over the last 10 years. Lauderdale, I don't think so.
Now, Waynesboro, probably not.
Probably not. Manning
Good have some.
added some.
Well, 10 years ago, the biggest increase was in the southwest part of town.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right.
And I don't.
Oh,
think
yeah.
you have this one.
It'll be interesting to see.
Okay.
You know, I can't find you sent that to me,
I know I
but-
did.
and I can't find this thing. I have a hard time finding.
I got a copy right here.
No, I'm just,
I
Who-
sent
who
him
was
who
on
was
that?
on it last time.
Oh, 10 years ago.
Well,
Last census.
We can't remember the color. Neil and Mark.
I can't remember who it is now either.
Do you do this every 10 years? Is that-
Yep. After the census.
So we come with
I
names
think I found it.
and ready to go next week, if that's good. At least 15.
I'll open it. I'll come up here with me. We got two selected.
So we need a motion to stay with the three numbers,
I would,
or is that
I
just
think
standing?
you'll
because
probably
that's what
make a
it is?
motion next week to appoint to your three-member board, whoever you guys.
Is there a restriction on where they live or is it just?
no, just that in county, they have to be eligible voters.
Yeah, make sure that they're ready.
I can't, open up.
That wouldn't be good.
That they're what?
Make sure that they're registered.
Oh my God, felon.
Um,
Oh, you'd be surprised.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of things surprising you. Like, what? That's been going. So do you want a motion today to we go with the three-person board and just get that over with today, and then next week we meet the break up with our appointments?
Or he said we don't need, we just need to come with the appointment.
Yeah, you don't have to, because
Oh, okay.
you're, all you need to do is set who your people are.
For some reason, I can't get it open. All right. So we'll bring that up next week and make sure you're two, we'll have all one. We'll go from there. So. The other thing I was gonna just say a few things, contact with staff and before we go to the new management. I did get contact with the RG and B planning and design that they will be submitting a proposal. And that they do want to be notified if we do have any addendums, which I said I don't think we plan on having that.
For what?
addendums.
No, but what are you talking about before we go?
The RFP, we're down here.
Oh,
And so what about?
They just called and let us know, let me know they're gonna submit.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted to be made aware if there's any addendums.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was also contacted by Buchanan County in regard to annual service, now we have to, they have having some issues, and I gotta be forced to do something different on that. Huh? There's a lot of them. Yes, there is. And they're waiting for the state to approve that bill to make that a essential supplement for the effect. Nice of it. Okay, next is manure management, annual update. We have Brent Helber, section 9, Ewald Township, no changes. Dennis Hyatt, number 3, section 13, Arcadia Township, 4-year plan, change crop rotation. For optimum yield and use manure analysis. Next is Dennis Hyatt, number 1, South, section 7, Pleasant Valley Township, annual update. Change crop rotation for optimum yield and use manure analysis. Dennis Hyatt, number 2, North, section 7, Pleasant Valley Township, annual updates, change crop rotation. And after optimum yields and use manure analysis. L&M Port, section 25, Ewald Township, 4-year update. Updated RUS LED 2s and P indexes. Woodford Creek Farms LLP, number 741, section 34 of Grant Township, 4-year plan, no changes. Woodford Creek Farms LLP, number 746, section 13, Union Township, 4-year plan, no changes. Woodford Creek Farms LLP, number 745, section 5 of East Township, 4-year plan, no changes. John Opperman, number 1, section 8 of Ewald Township, 4-year plan, added acres, change crop rotation for optimum yields using manure analysis. Birch Finisher Farm, section 8, Arcadia Township, annual update, change crop rotation for optimum yield using manure analysis. Delta Finisher Farm, section 4 of Wheatland Township, annual update, change crop rotation for optimum yield using manure analysis. Those are manure management. Yes, next we'll have before we go to committee reports, we also did get a letter from the city of Glidden. They're doing a voluntary annexation. It's like 5 acres, which will be northeast of where the dairy mart's at, that old farm place. So if we have any issues with that. Yep. I'm just listening. Okay,
That's on the
northwest corner.
northwest corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
when they retook the house.
House up? They didn't move that very far.
No.
Oh,
They don't know
yeah.
where
It's
they don't know where it's going.
I think it's.
Oh, it's still jacked up?
I think it's going.
Sitting there.
Oh, he just don't have, the guy that bought it don't have a place to put it. That's what I meant, yeah.
Don't know where.
That's called the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
That's on the, okay, committee report.
I'll go first. Okay. Last week I met with Daryl Baker. They did get the ambulance back from Lake City with a couple new catalytic converters on it. And they are looking for more medical examiners in Carroll County. So it's a 1-day class names. And today, Mary Witchery and I are going down to Cass County to meet with a couple of supervisors, because for us to take contracts from Cass County, they have to be active recyclers, and they've made a lot of changes and we're like, to see if they're still meeting the requirements.
I can go next. I really didn't have any official business last week, and there's still discussions going on with the Board of Health and concerns with public health department. And this week is probably going to be much of the same. No official business. Next week is different.
Okay, I will go next then. On Tuesday, I had policy council meeting. We went through the financials, went through the program report. Everything's pretty good there. I'm not going to go into all the labor on that. We went through the school readiness report. This is where they Rate the kids every 3 times through the year, spring, fall, and winter. And the results were very positive. They showed that they are getting a lot of response and getting good increases on these kids who have upgraded quite a bit. Then we reported on the center base. Carroll, at the time of our meeting on Tuesday, was probably going to be full and rolled on their 32 kids in center base. And the Prairie Center started the next day, and they thought they were going to have probably close to 20, and that worked out from there. We did approve our early Head Start HP grant carryover. This is on the particularly the construction part of it. We got some money that's going to be carried over that year is coming up. We also had some CH grant money that on COLA that we did a waiver on because of the fact that we didn't have somebody staff around and stuff like that. So, and then we talked about the early Head Start and parents evaluation results. Those again were very positive. Also then on Wednesday, I sat in on a NACO membership call, and that was basically just all about whole different things and topics. Mental health time, they say the time line for the treasurer coming out with their requirements for the new money is getting close. I think that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. So that was that. Then on Thursday, I also listened to later on, what we go back and review these later on, another NACO membership call, and that one was strictly about COVID vaccines. They said nationally that people 65 and over, 85% of them are vaccinated. That was good report. Thursday night, we had a new opportunities board meeting, basically approved the financials. Our financials look a little weird because of all the construction stuff, the way that nonprofits do their depreciation and stuff. So we had a discussion about that. We did approve a CSDG amendment for $1,689, basically some money that was left over that we moved around into different categories to spend. Next, then we went through the Head Start program, everything I just talked about, so I won't go through that again. And then we approved the Department of Energy Weatherization Assistance Program contract for an additional $218,658. That brings up a total of $2 million total for the 7-county area. Then we approved the Community Service Block Grant 6-month National Performance Indicators Report that shows our goals that we approved. And then we also approved the LIHEAP. I'll back that up. The DOT was $218,000 grant, and I don't remember how many total dollars it was. But then we approved the LIHEAP grant, additional $206,621, which brings us up to a total of $2,100,394 for the 7-county area. I also have here the Yes Center annual report audit. It was basically one thing in this report was segregations of duties. So I'll do that for me. And this week I have the radio and paper, and Tuesday I have a CADC project panel discussion. And whatever else comes up.
All right, last week, I had Rolling Hills on Wednesday. We approved the financials. We had a fairly lengthy discussion on the purchase of a building in the Sioux City area. We still are, we decided to table that because of the mental health changes that may come from the state legislature. We don't know. There were some unknowns there that made us a little leery about stepping into that. We're all still waiting on information also on a possible block grant, and we can't
you can't lock down the building or a memorandum of understanding or anything in advance of that. That has, the block grant has to come first. Because if you do that other way around, then you ruin your qualifications for the block grant. So we decided to table that. The next thing up was iStart. That's a supplementary program for kids. It's not a core. We were the last standalone region to still have it as of last week. We voted to stop it. It's about a little over $107,000 that we decided to stop it because we have 5 children's cores that we do not have up and running yet, and we needed the money for that. This was a supplemental. I'm not saying it's a bad program. It's just the financials are just not going to be marketed. It was a hard decision, but that's kind of the way that I felt it was. The Humboldt Pocahontas transition is going well. They have made an offer for another advocate. They will be positioned somewhere in the north. Most likely they will serve Pocahontas and Humboldt for sure. They do not have a lot, but we think that what the plan is, we're going to, some of the Sac, Calhoun, Ida workload is going to be shifted further north. Louise from here, our area, she has Carroll, Crawford, and some of Ida. She's going to lose some of Ida and maybe some of the Crawford. We're going to put the shift on these to try to balance the workload out a little bit more and to make sure we have a better coverage. Because I think Louise is kind of a little stretched, a little thin right now. She's very good what she does, but she is stretched a little bit. So we're trying to balance that workload out. There has been an offer made. I do not know if they have totally accepted it or not. We had 22 applications for CARES Act round number 4. We went through each one individually. Some were totally disallowed, some were fully allowed, some were partial. There was a list of qualifications, but the first 2 biggest qualifications they had to be tied to COVID, and it could not deal with salaries or bonuses. That eliminated several of them. They were trying to tie some of their service programs and some of their wages to it. There was a lot of PCs. We did approve a couple of buildings to get doors put in places to cut down some airflow problems. So it was a little bit of everything. We also went through a presentation from an intensive residential service home company, and Amy Jepson and Ben Schubert. It's what they call an IRSHA model. The model is similar to what New Hope uses, that model where they have 4 or 5 clients in the home. This was going to be mental health clients. There would be 24-hour people there. They made a good presentation. The money looked very favorable. There again, it's not core. It's something that probably would work real well. And I can't believe Medicare is not, it's about half the cost of what Medicare is paying now. I don't know why they wouldn't be really in favor of just funding the whole thing. But there again, that's a government agency. You never know exactly what their parameters are or what they're going to do next. Then on Friday, I just sat in on a conference call for Iowa workforce. The topic of conversation this week was what I want to say, meetings and open meeting laws, trying to get some of these workforce boards. There's people going on these workforce boards that's never been in government before. they're trying to, they've got a new presentation to get out to them. They're gonna present in front of each one of these new boards for me to make sure that they know about open meeting laws and those kind of things. Just to touch base, and that's what's the topic of that conversation. And it's always good to go through that, because you always hear something every single time. That was it for last week. This week, all I have in front of me is CABC, and I guess that's a conference call. That's all I have for this upcoming week.
Rich, do you know how many group homes are here in Carroll?
No, we do not know that number. No.
I know when Malachi went away, that's where all those people went. And so there was a large number of others that went into those group homes as well. Because I mean, that's what Dawn at the time says, well, this is the way it's going. You know, I got to get these people out in society, so they're all going to group homes. And I just wondered, 5, 6 years after
It's been out there, how long?
just how
I don't know, I've not asked that question, because I know some of those people that we had out there, some were from other counties, and I assume they went kind
their
of
way,
back,
yeah.
or they went to the closest place they could find that group situation, which may or may not be here, and I guess I don't know if they even wound up even in.
Well, there are some group homes out there, I know, but.
Yeah,
There's a lot, there's some minimal housing opportunity living, city housing here.
Mhm.
And then I think they have the resource house.
I'm gonna say, I think that's where ours went.
think there's a lot.
Family resource, yeah.
Family resource has 9.
Family resource has 9 group homes in Carroll. Okay.
If I had to guess, I would think New Hope has even more.
Oh,
But maybe I'm
we
wrong.
have 2 on the street.
I know of 2, not on your street. So that's 4 right there, but
Well, and New Hope has another community.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that's what this company here was using, the mental health, and using kind of the same type of arrangement. That's what the proposal was. It was a good proposal. It's just, we're still dealing with the courts, and now we have the children, so it's with no money. You got, some of these have got to go. And it's unfortunate, because there's a need for it, but.
One thing is you don't know where your money's going to come from.
Well, that's one reason why we stepped back from the building until we could get some more concrete answers.
Or if the state takes it over, it's all for them.
I don't think the
Well,
state
if the
take it
state takes over,
completely
they're
back
gonna
over.
try to change the
They
zoning.
want to try to.
And
I don't know what they want.
I think that's.
They're right in the middle, they're trying to get halfway. They're trying to
Yeah,
control
I
the
don't think they
funding.
know what they
What? And now they're concerned about that's one of the buildings and septic tanks.
Yeah, that's all.
The septic tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one county.
I'll do my committee reports real quick. Last week I had no official business, but I did speak with Zach. They were doing some work on Phoenix Avenue, cleaning up some ditches, so I'll watch that. This week I am in Marshalltown, Wednesday through Friday for law enforcement and public safety. And I am gonna reach out to Chad and we'll go do our little check-in for general services.
Sounds good.
That's one thing that probably should be mentioned too. 2 things. I think you guys are aware of it. Okay, the contractor over at the roofing or the turkey building, that's the new steel. They want to know the color the other day real quick because the steel is going up 50%. So Jack and Pat will put the same color that. So you guys are aware of that. The
Is
other
there
thing-
much steel?
Yeah, just that.
Just the edging?
Just that
Yeah.
edging.
Wouldn't know it was up there if you went to look.
The other thing is, the mill work with the jail has all been paid for. And Tony, Rich and I had a discussion. Rich thought maybe we had to do something here before, but we did not. That is part of David's, their bid proposal. It's their issue. And Tony did, I think he sent out the letter that he got away from the prison. We also, he got a local vendor to apply that, which he said became a wash on everything. So he was happy with that. This way there,
One other thing while you're on that, I stopped and asked you today. License plates are not in issue yet, but they are becoming. They're still getting them, it's just, they're really slow, especially for first.
my discussion with Ken was the staff is doing the correct, which is weird, wrong. And they're not watching. Anyway. Anything else, Courtney? What's for next week besides, programs being up here?
Appointments.
Yeah.
Redistricting. I want to talk about, this is the 10th, right? Yeah, I want to talk about the Little Red County Park. Still sitting out there with 2 flat tires. And, it's my understanding that the used car market's pretty strong right now, so it might be a good opportunity to see if we can get some favorable bids, and if we don't, keep it.
When was the last time it was started?
You have to ask that.
2018.
You'd have to ask that. I don't know.
Probably not gonna start.
I think he did charge the battery not that long ago. I saw him up there, but I don't know if he was doing that just through. Anyway, so
Even with flat tire.
let's talk about that next week. We'll talk about the redistricting commissioners. Good Rapids. Oh, I like that there. Have some interfund transfers for the end of the year. I'll have a couple flats that came in late. One's for Brian Wendell, one's for Alex Weaver. You may or may not have seen those. I think that's it.
Hey, any comments from those in attendance or online?
There is no comment online.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else, we're in order for a motion to adjourn.
Someone.
Is there a second? Been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
I started to write an R on the second.
Okay.
Always.